Yes, exactly, Klepto. And what I want to explain here in this video is kind of bridging off of um, that type of concept is that we're basically seeing the universe in all types of phenomena, is how many of the phenomena that we observe in the sky are actually the result of movements and interactions that are similar to what happens down here on Earth. So, just within the upper layers of our atmos and the surrounding etheric field, you see all of these different colors happening. And if you guys seen the videos that I did a few months back on the fumigation, on the evaporation of fumes, the two different types of fumes that go up and down from the cosmic breathing of the earth, all transformations are the same recyclings of the basic elemental forces: fire, water, earth, air, and ether, which is the fifth element, that's plasma. And the earth, as a porous, spongy, living body, contains within its rocky soil innumerable passages, cavities, and galleries. And through these hidden channels, the air perpetually circulates up and back down, the cosmic breathing. And so, as vapors, both dry, which are fire-laden vapors, and wet, which are aqueous vapors, they are driven into the subterranean spaces and they undergo this alchemical transmutation under pressure and different temperatures. Okay, so once again, you have dry vapors, which are igneous fumes, the carriers of fire and the seed of plasma potential, and you have wet vapors, aqueous fumes, the carriers of condensation and mineralization. Okay, so through their interactions, these vapors crystallize into metallic ores, and the minerals are therefore not inert matter, but the solidified residues of evaporative and alchemical processes, consuming the original energies of the vapors in their formation. Cobalt, as one of these condensed products, carries with it its atomic lattice, the memory of fire and air bound into its density. All right? So gases and simple dry fumes are driven into the earth where cavities exist. Any condensation and saturation there can produce a huge array of explosive gaseous reactions and byproducts. Just as a solid and a liquid material exhibit diamagnetic properties, so too do corresponding gases, and they respond to electromagnetism. This process of rocks undergoing transformation, they turn into stone or metal ores. It just depends on the situation. So being permeable to both dry and wet fumes, certain rocks, when the conditions allow it to, undergo transformation through natural processes and chemical reactions. Every rock contains within it other elements, water, fire, and air, through an inexpressible form that could express plasma elements. Minerals and metals, they originate from evaporative processes within the Earth's interior, is what causes all of these elemental chemical combinations to move up and down in the Earth and to cause these chemical interactions and chemical reactions. So above us, the motion of the upper ether sets the ionosphere into activity, creating swirling currents of the noble gases, hydrogen, and other elements. And these currents become visible in certain regions, especially near the magnetic north, where there is the opening or the thinning veil that allows a stronger upward and downward influence to emerge from below the earth from the black sun. And this is why when we observe the northern lights, we are quite literally seeing these ionospheric gas currents being illuminated. And at the same time, these flammable fumes, these volatile, igniting, flammable fumes, some natural, some produced by human activity, rise invisibly from the Earth's surface, up and down. And these vapors, they move vertically, piercing the lower layers of the atmos and reaching the ionosphere, where they mix with these circulating currents and they complete what can be understood as cycles of fire. And these fumes, the fumigation process, they enter into the ionosphere, they introduce turbulence, which in turn generates the air currents. And these currents compress and release the lower atmospheric layers, creating what we experience as atmospheric pressure with all the chemical elements. Now, when we turn to our attention to celestial phenomena, things like shooting stars, meteors, comets, and even what they call black holes, the same principles apply. They are not distant objects in empty space, but they are combustion events. The vapors, the fumigation process that rise high enough and condense, they begin to fall back down, and they ignite as they pass through the oxygen-rich layers. And what we see as a shooting star, we are witnessing this ignition of their descent back down towards the Earth. And the reason these objects fall at angles, like shooting stars falling at an angle rather than straight down, is due to the ionospheric currents and the circular motion of the ethereal field. When condensed gases rise with enough speed, they can pierce beyond the ionosphere and enter regions that are lacking oxygen. And there, the flame slowly extinguishes, producing what we call a comet or a nebula or a burning star. All of those photonic, colorful, illuminating phenomena that we see in the sky. Material does not fully penetrate the ionosphere and instead becomes caught in the rotating ethereal field, and it gains a circular motion while condensing and falling. And so when it's re-entering the oxygen-rich layers, it ignites as this celestial phenomena. And finally, the brilliant, multicolored explosions that we see, the greens, the reds, the yellows, and the dark, all those different colors, they are obscuring events known as black holes, also forms of combustion at high altitudes in the sky. The color and the opacity depends entirely on the material of the chemicals that are involved going up and down in the fumigation process. So what is called a black hole is not a hole at all, but a dense, blackened combustion cloud that blocks our view of what lies beyond it. Flammable and volatile gases rise upward from the Earth and enter the ionosphere, where they participate in what can be understood as a continuous cycle of air and fire. And once these vapors reach higher altitude, they condense and eventually begin a descending path. And during the descent, they can manifest as meteors, shooting stars, all this celestial combustion phenomena that we see. All of this occurs within the ethereal fields. And these fields exist within gradations, each associated with a specific color. There is a constant upward and downward combusting circulation within these fields and within these layers, a continual upgrading and downgrading of etheric substance. These etheric gradations play a direct role in how the combustion actually appears to us. So when metallic elements are present within the burning material, the resulting flames display intense and distinct colors, like lithium produces red, sodium produces bright yellow, potassium produces violet, calcium produces like a dark brick red, barium is greenish yellowish, strontium is like a crimson red, and copper is bluish and greenish. And these colors arise because the combustion process releases photons at specific wavelengths. It's basically what we're seeing, which is the visible fire that we observe in the sky. So I like your thinking, Klepto. Very, very, very on point.